Good evening, folks. Welcome to Here's the Deal. I'm your host, Shiloh. I got my co-host here, Marvin. How are you, Marv?
I'm doing pretty okay, Shiloh. How are you? How are you doing?
Doing good. It's been a long, busy week, but you know what? I think we've seen the end of it. So,
Yep. Um, Before we get going into it, Naomi had something come up tonight. Was not planned, so we're going to be having her on tomorrow afternoon with us. We're going to do a 3 o'clock show tomorrow to have Naomi Chafee join us with Turning Point USA. So tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. There's a few things going on around North Dakota that Shiloh and I are going to be talking about, and we do have the host of Common Sense Uncensored joining us all the way out from the eastern side of the state. So Kip Brennan's going to be coming on. Yeah, it's been a week, Shiloh.
it has. It
So
definitely has.
um,
So, before we start, I want to give a couple shout outs to some people that have helped us out, and one of them is I'm sorry, Kyle Christensen. In his I gotta find it here. He made
there,
us something, yeah, with custom carbide. He does custom work, whether it be welding. He also does carbide welding as well. Works in the oil field. He actually is a coworker of mine at my regular job, and we asked him to build us a branding iron, and that we're going to use on our new intro. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, he actually made this for us that we're going to be using in our new intro that we're going to go into production here this coming week. But he does all kinds of work, custom fabrication, and there isn't much that he can't do with a welder. And he's based out of Williston. So if you guys want to get a hold of him, just drop us the email and we'll get you his contact information. So we'll go from there. But I really appreciate Kyle, and that's again from Custom Carbide there in Williston. So this is the branding iron that he made us for what we're going to use for our intro. We got a pretty cool idea. Actually, Marvin came up with it, so be looking forward to that. And the other person I want to give a shout out to is my first ever co-host, Mr. Luke Simons, out there in Dickinson, North Dakota, and he has the Gentleman's Barber Shop. And I went and seen him the other day, and he gave me a good shave and a good beard trim. So next time you guys are in Dickinson, be sure you stop by and see Luke at the Gentleman's Barber Shop. Appreciate it. So anyway,
with that, let's get Kit on because I know she's all excited to talk. So
you bet. Here she is. How are you, Kit?
Doing just fine. Just trying to keep me quiet test, but how you guys doing?
doing really good.
I'm doing good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Well, I am pretty excited because we won one.
Oh, what'd you win? Let's hear about
it. It was $12 million school bond that they wanted to run through my school district, District 9, in Hillsboro, North Dakota. And it would have added $418 to my property tax bill, which went up 79.52% just from last year to this year, which added 1,800 and change. So I was looking at, I was
79%, not like 7%, 79.
79.52.
Holy. Now, didn't we look at that, Kid? It's like 15% according to the tax commissioner. They can raise you on your property taxes.
They can't, but see, here's what happened. We got this note in the mail that looked like it was done by a grade school person. It was handwritten on a piece of white paper saying, "We went out and peeked in your windows." Literally, it said that. And we estimate that you have this many bedrooms, this many bathrooms, yada yada. Therefore, we're increasing the valuation of your house. and it's going to be increasing like 77 point something %, and pretty much didn't say anything else. And I kind of went, what the hell? And I went, well, okay, because I'm used to getting the ones like we just got here at the end of August, beginning of September. So I just kind of went, I'll wait and see what happens. And well, by the time I got this stuff in September, I didn't realize that that little handwritten type note I got, I had 5 days to contact the county, the township, and the school board and tell them I wanted to talk to them about my tax assessment. Because that's what, when I went through that sheet, Marvin, that you said, and I went, oh, so that's what I was supposed to do way back then. And if you don't do it within that 5-day span, too bad. So you can't go and ask for help. Now that I've discovered what the law is and everything else, I would love to go talk to them, and it's gone. My window's gone. And I know they had an issue in Hillsborough where they said that the people that they paid to do the assessments hadn't been doing their job for several years. To which I want to go, not my problem.
Sounds like they should be getting their money back.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, you're the one that's supposed to be in charge of seeing these people do their jobs, right? These people didn't do their jobs for 3 years, and now you're going to penalize me because they didn't do their jobs. And they said, oh, but look at how much value your home is worth now. Now we've even done. I said, I don't give a damn. That's a hell of a hit. So it's $1,800 from last year to this year, and the school wanted to put $418 more dollars on top of that. Plus, they were going to be doing about $186 per weird acre or something of farmland. I mean, it was egregious for the farmers. I think that's why we actually, it didn't pass, was because it was so outrageous for the commercial and for the farmers, because it was even worse for them than the residential people. And for my house, I mean, that's over $2,000 in a year. Now I'm blessed. I can probably, you know, I'm not a happy person, but I can dig in my piggy bank and come up with it. But I want to point out something. 17% of our population in just the school district is 60 to 69 years old. 15% is 50 to 59. Now, how many of those are probably grandparents or whatever on fixed incomes, et cetera, et cetera? And are they going to be able to take a hit like this? Now, I'm 68, but like I said, I'm blessed. We've worked well, but I happen to know when I was campaigning for the House, I talked to a lot of elderly people, and their exact words are, they're taxing me out of my home. And those are the ones that I was concerned for. So I spoke up at the school board meeting and became the Antichrist in Hillsborough on the front page of the paper, because I literally said, there are people out here dying because you guys are raising the property tax. The city just raised 34 some mills in Hillsborough, plus another 17 or some mills for the school board. You add this, I mean, excuse me, for the park board, you add the school board bond to that, and their tax increases. What's our elderly people going to do? Choose between food, shelter, heat? It's a real problem. And I lost it at the school board meeting, and I said, and none of you seem to give a damn. And they just looked at me like I was this tinfoil hatted idiot. And I'm tired of our supposed representatives being tone deaf. And they are, they're completely tone deaf to what anybody is going through out here that isn't obviously super upper middle class. And it's tragic. I'm sure you guys saw your taxes go up.
Oh yeah, mine are like $5,000.
Yeah, not 79%.
Well, see, but Bruce and I, we went at 7 o'clock and we sat in on the vote count. And I asked questions and stuff, and they were not amused because I said we'd like to stay and monitor the vote. And let's just say that had I been eating a popsicle, I wouldn't have had to worry about it melting in the room. but that's fine. They can, that's
Yeah.
their opinion. I got mine.
Right.
And so I asked questions throughout, not just because I actually was curious because of this voter initiative that's coming up that does hand counts, but I asked questions because I wanted to make sure they knew I was doing more than just sitting there for show. And I asked about the absentee ballots because I said, are the absentee ballots in the big drum, and how did they get in there? Because isn't it convenient that they took the ballots out of the absentee ballot thing and threw them in the drum? Now, I want to preface this by saying the vote was, you could pick up your absentee ballots at the school office. You could drop them off at the school office. The judge for the election was the school business manager, and it was held in the school library. I'm not saying these people are dishonest or could be dishonest. I'm just saying the optics aren't real good when the people that really want this thing to pass are in charge of it. And we made it by 24 votes, gentlemen. 24 votes is the only thing that kept this thing from passing. How difficult would it have been to find 24 votes if nobody was looking?
Well, you saw what for the 10th of October, right?
I'm gonna go back and take a look and make sure that when they do the canvassing and stuff, that they follow through. I am not letting up. In fact, I'm thinking of going to the next school board meeting just to say, hey, I'll fly in on my broom.
Well, it's definitely not the first time any of us have run into the issues with elected councils and local councils and stuff like that. I know the first meeting I ever spoke out at here in Bismarck, there was a commissioner that was so upset about it. And I know this because I know people that work in different buildings and agencies around the state and around the town. But somebody went screaming into the city attorney's office the next morning, pissed off and wanting to know everything they could find about me. And it's like the article that they wrote about you. I know they say it makes it sound like you're the Antichrist, but we are currently in Faith Week. And when you had sent me that, you messaged me that, and I'm like, kind of sounds like you were flipping tables in a temple, not that you were the Antichrist. Because
well,
if we don't talk about it, if we don't speak up about it, guess what?
I was very, very angry, and I am not someone you want to see angry because it's very difficult for me to just out namaste, namaste. I'm not real good at it, but when I was talking, I'm very skilled in body language, and I was watching the body language of the superintendent and the other people I was talking to, and you could just see him going, like I suddenly, was a bad smell had been brought into the room. And I was like, the more I talk, because all they've been doing since January 27th is doing information meetings, running around spouting figures and facts, supposedly facts, at people. And so when I talked that day, I brought facts and figures about inflation, about our elderly, about the fact that car insurance has gone up 19.1%. It costs $750 more a month just to run a household right now for the average household. And I brought those facts up to them, and you could just see they were just like, and I got them I even quoted my sources. I said, this is from the census. So if you wanna tackle me, go ahead, but I'm bringing your statistics. And I just watched them going, and I lost it. I just lost it because I have never run into a bigger bunch of people that you could see had an agenda. This was not a listening session. This was this is coming, you will do this session. And they had no conscience whatsoever about the other people in the community. And that type of disparity really bothers me because it's the typical elite class. And we always talk about the federal elites in Washington, D.C. Every town's got them. Every town has a little bit of an elite class. They'll be the first ones to tell you, well, my family's been here forever. Perfect. So happy for you. Glad to hear it. But I'm here now, and I deserve to be treated like a member of this community.
Well, and you've been there how long?
30 years.
I'm pretty sure they can get over it by now. Like,
Apparently not. You want to
like-
know the best part, Marv?
yeah, let's
I don't care.
You would think that being they've been there forever, that they'd want to protect their town and not, I don't know. Maybe I was wrong.
They come from old Hillsboro. Most of them have old money, and they just are ready to build whatever it is they need to build on the backs of whoever. And that's probably the most frustrating thing for me, because when I took a look out there, and I looked at proficiency things, parent in Hillsboro, the district, the proficiency in English language at the state is 44%. In Hillsboro, it's 39. In math, the state is 39%. In Hillsboro, it's 44. So they did a little better there. But we're talking about a school district that doesn't have that many students in it. It's got a total of 507 students, and they keep talking about our enrollment is growing. We're down in enrollment this year, and just so everybody knows, the kindergarten class has 25 students in it.
Yeah.
We're growing. I
So
don't think so.
what I've seen that's common in the last, I don't know, since I've gotten involved, and even in my school board run, kind of seems like the proficiency scores, and it doesn't matter whether you're in Little Hillsboro or Little Ray or Bismarck or any of them, they're right in between that 30 to 40%. And it doesn't matter whether it's math, writing, any of it. Doesn't matter. It seems to be right in between 30 and 40%. And the thing that gets me is that these administrators, especially the superintendents, go around and they tote these proficiency scores like they're some god. I mean, if you're going to be proud of the fact that your school has a 30% proficiency score, no matter what subject, there's something wrong with you.
I've got to be honest with you, Shiloh, 30%, that's pie in the sky. I taught college for 20 years. And in the 20 years that I taught, I watched the scores just nosedive like that. I mean, it was nuts. The kids that came to get graduated from high school couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't do basic math, certainly couldn't hold an intelligent conversation with anyone. It was actually starting from square one. And I would look at my students and I would tell them, all right, here's the deal. I apologize to you. You're going to stick with me for 2 years, and I bet you it's going to hurt because your brain is going to trickle out your nose, because I'm going to attempt in 2 years, because I worked at a 2-year college, to teach you how to think. It's been beaten out of you. You've gone through 12 years of people telling you how to follow directions. I am going to attempt in 2 years to release you from that bondage and teach you how to think. Hang on, kids, it's going to be a bumpy ride. And that's exactly what I tell them that the first day of class. And I said, and boy, some of you are going to fight me tooth and nail, because you want nothing more than to be told exactly what to do. And I'm not going to do it. I'm going to make you have to decide, because that's what you're going to have to do in life.
It's funny you mentioned that, Kit, because so we started homeschooling this year, and that was kind of what we'd learned from our kids, is especially if they have special needs, they don't do, all they do is they send them to the special needs room, and they don't even attempt to try and help them or make them do their work. They just play a game or whatever it is to appease the child so they don't have a meltdown.
Well, they're coming to college from high school, and they didn't really have to work in high school because they passed anyway.
Right.
And nobody got below a C. If you take a look at the number of A's and B's honor roll students in schools, you will actually be appalled because there's on a bell curve, there should not be that many. And it's just so weighted that way because nobody's gonna, if you give a kid a C nowadays, they have a meltdown. And so nobody goes there because the teacher doesn't want the hassle.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Marv.
So when we were looking at this, because you'd reached out to me, kind of like take a look at stuff in the district.
Yeah.
What was the third district we found? Because you have your high school, you have the grade school, and what's number 3?
The Hutterites. There's 4 students from Spring Valley Colony. Now, I don't know, I am not the Hutterite expert, but I have to ask you, when did Hutterites start sending their kids to public school, and why only 4? There's, again, not a Hutterite colony expert, but there's not a colony that I've ever visited that had 4 kids.
But they have a teacher listed and a principal?
Yes.
Is that what we saw?
4 students and a teacher that's getting paid through the district. Seriously.
Yeah.
So
that don't surprise me.
I'm real confused because, like I said, the Hutterite colonies I visited, way more than 4 kids, number 1. Number 2, all homeschooled. Number 3, why do they need the colony and the teacher? And 4 kids?
Yeah.
So you'll forgive me if those are just more things you want to go, about. Okay, and they can't figure out how to make air conditioners work, and they say they need new windows, but they just submitted a thing for a $98,000 brand new bus. I would like to see this school district audited. In fact, I'll be honest with you, gentlemen. I would like to see every school district in the state of North Dakota have it set up legislatively that every 5 years they get an outside audit and have it on a rotating basis. So Josh Gallion or whoever's in the auditor's office doesn't immediately lose their hair. But I would really like to see that each school district, besides their self-auditing, which is how we ended up with $377 million missing in Williston, be audited. People are human. People not only make mistakes, but people are human.
I'll take you a step further, Kit.
Okay.
Why don't we own our own bank? We have the Bank of North Dakota, right?
Yep.
So why doesn't each township, each county, each city, each school board have their own account set up with the Bank of North Dakota? So the state funds get transferred into that. They write the checkbook from that and give us a whole new level of transparency.
That'd be great.
Right?
That'd be awesome.
Can
Because
you
meeting
imagine
minutes
having that
disappear.
sovereign ledger?
I mean, the most transparent state really isn't. The minute you start digging for things, it's amazing how fast the page not founds and the door slam in your face.
Well,
Yeah.
we were just talking about that earlier tonight, the livability study in Bismarck that I sent the commissioners. So the email I sent out had a live link to a functioning page. It was a 150 some page document, I think. And guess what? It's 404 page not found now.
Try to get an email link to Drew Wrigley. You get the same page not found.
So
it's embarrassing, actually. It should be embarrassing, but it isn't to them, apparently.
The whole state government's an embarrassment. I mean, starting from the top with the governor, he's embarrassing. Not only is he embarrassing himself, he's embarrassing our state. I would even go as far as saying that he's embarrassing the Western way of lifestyle that he's trying to portray.
He's about as Western, dear Lord.
don't.
I mean,
let her buck, Kit.
I'm just telling you. I mean, the man says he came from a farm and he did this and he did that. I went to college with that man. The closest he's come to a horse is the rear end, because that's what he is. The man is nothing but a caricature of a human being, much less a cowboy and then he's out there telling all these people how he's probably got more business experience than anybody else on this stage and all this other stuff. Yeah, it's pretty nice when your family backs you when you start your business.
Yeah.
The thing that keeps
Which
killing
happened.
me, I know
So
it's
when he
bugging-
does his boots, I pulled myself up from my bootstraps. No. You pulled yourself up from a whole bunch of other people's bootstraps. And when he stood up there and said, I did this, I bet you all his employees went, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did this.
the thing that keeps killing me, and I heard it on the radio today. A host was talking about how they are sick and tired of him referring to us as customers.
Yes.
They're absolutely right, because pretty sure our taxes, our money, our hard work is what pays his salary. So wouldn't that make him our employee and not the other way around?
Yes. And here's the other thing.
Mostly.
Customers have the opportunity to leave or to not buy the product. When was the last time you had the opportunity to not pay your property taxes or your income taxes?
Yeah, they kind of throw you in jail for that.
Yeah, they do. Last time I checked, they sure do. And when was the last time somebody could come to you and say, oh yeah, that product you'd like to keep, your house? Yeah, that price just went up $1,800 from last year. Good luck with that. Make sure you pay that, or what we're going to do is we're going to sell it out from under you.
See, and that's the thing, talking about property taxes, that, I don't care what kind of argument that you want to put on there as far as financial end or financial part. I mean, any of that. Let's take the financial part away for a minute. The fact that if you don't pay it in 3 years, somebody can go and buy your property from the county. That is not owning land. That right there should be argument enough, and so when I was with Luke the other day, we were talking about this, and I had a friendly conversation with a guy at the Buffalo Gap Guest Ranch when I was passing through there this week, and I had lunch, and he was like, well, so let's say we pass this. What's gonna stop all these rich guys from coming into North Dakota and buying up all the land because there's no property tax? Yeah, it might be a little bit higher, but there's nothing that shows, or that slows us down. And I guess that's probably a good argument. But there again, my argument is, again, if you don't pay yours, they can take it away.
My house right now isn't mine.
No.
I pay rent to the township, to the county. I pay rent. And if I don't pay my rent, what happens?
You get
I'm
kicked
booted
out.
out of my house.
They take it.
And here's the best. And here's the best part. Yep. And here's the best part about that. If I'm $300, let's say I'm off $300 after 3 years, and they sell my property for 50 grand, they keep it all. I don't get the $300, go to the state, and I get the rest because they sold my property. The state gets everything. So you tell me what I owe, what I own. What do I really own? And for that guy that said, well, people can come in and buy all the property up. What if I don't have to sell my property because of my property taxes? Why would I? That gives me the security to be able to say, no. You can come offer me anything you want, but this is my house. I'm not going anywhere, and you can't make me.
Yeah.
By raising my property, what I'm seeing happening right now, guys, is they're raising property taxes so people can no longer afford to have a home.
That's
and
exactly
I'm hearing
what
that
they're
from
doing.
a lot of people. They're taking our homes legally from us through the property tax. It's going to start with the elderly because they're going to be the first ones that won't be able to keep up with the taxes.
Well, if you think about it, that's where they started with the vaccines too. They used the elderly as the guinea pigs, and how many of them survived?
And then it'll go to the single parents and things. It'll start with the poorest of the poor first, because they won't be able to keep up. And everybody in the middle class and stuff will go, oh, that's just so bad. That's just so sad. And then it will be them.
Then it'll be their turn.
That's why all of these huge apartments and stuff are being readied in these smart cities, aka Minot and the rest of them. Because when all of us out here don't have any place to live, where are we going to be able to go? We're going to have to go to the city, where we can be in subsidized housing, using public transportation, living on government money that they manage to give to us if our social credit score is good enough.
Yeah, well,
Then these knuckleheads that they don't see that. They don't. Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
People think I'm crazy. I know they do, Marv. I say that and people look at me like I'm wearing my tin hat at a jaunty angle. But if you look through history, that's exactly what they did. And now it's finally starting to affect the farmers. The EPA stuff and the property taxes. Had this school bond passed in Hillsborough, it would have been outrageously expensive for the farmers in my area. And they would have had no recourse. And you can take farmland just as easily as you can take somebody's house, folks.
They don't want farmers.
No. They don't want people. Farmers feed people.
Yeah.
What's a really good way to get rid of a lot of people?
The problem with the farmers is they're going to have to stand up, and they might have to cut their arm off that feeds them, meaning they aren't going to be able to get their subsidies. But if they do it right, they don't need subsidies. They just have been, they've just, lived off of it for this many years. It's kind of like, how do you say it? What's the word? It's basically a habit.
Yes.
You're going to have to cut your arm. I'm sorry, folks. And here's the thing. It's not a political party thing anymore. And I know you guys have heard me say this before. It's good versus evil. We had Steve on Monday, and that's one of his messages. How are you going to tame the giant when you tell him that you have to cut his one arm off that feeds him? I mean, that's the problem. Well, I mean, look at John Hoeven. There is no way in heck that he should have been reelected.
No.
None. And these guys, the only reason, I mean, I live in it right here in this little community, all the bigger farmers. It's all.
But look at history, Shiloh. China, Russia, all of them. Once they got to where they thought they wanted, the first thing they did was they got rid of the farmers.
Yep.
They got rid of the farmers, and that's when people starved. But see, smaller groups of people are easier to control. And the farmers, if the government would get out of the way with all of the regulations, we would have a booming farm crop. And I understand they need some rules. I got that. But there's so many now. And it's the same thing for small business. Small business is so hampered by so many of the state, county, and all of these other rules. Why would you want to go into business? And why would you want to farm or ranch? That's
the thing. So right here, another example. My wife ran a very successful daycare here in little old Ray. We had a 6,000 square foot building rented. We filled it with 30 kids. And honestly, if we could have got employees and they would have stuck around, we could have opened up another facility right here in this town. We had them coming from 40, 50 miles away. Heck, we even had families coming from Williston that lived a couple blocks from where they worked, drove the 40 miles out here to us to drop their kids off and go back into work and then come back out and get them. But what happened there is you hear our great governor talk about, well, there's child care shortage. No, there isn't. How about you fix the regulations on them?
Yes.
We had to, when people would come for an interview, they'd have to get fingerprinted background check. I'm not arguing with that fact. They should have been. But why does it take 6 months for that process to be finished? I mean, who's going to wait? They can't work until they pass those. Who's going to wait 6 months for a job?
You know what's really funny there, Shiloh? It's convenient that they have all these background checks, but in 2020, I'm pretty sure there was a whole slew of executive orders that waived every one of those background checks from
I bet
everybody
you're right.
from out of state.
So
Healthcare workers, childcare workers, teachers, like there's an executive order for all of them that said, oh, by the way, you don't need to do a background check right now because COVID.
Well, here's another thing to think about. It's the same background check you got to do for a gun, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So why does it take, why does it take an hour when you do a gun check, but it takes 6 months? 6 months. And I'm not even exaggerating, guys.
No, I know you're not. The college I worked at had an early childhood development program.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 2-year program, and it was a very good one, and it was always full. Always full. And I knew the teacher very, very well, and we would sit and talk and stuff. And she said the biggest detriment to childcare is the government. They've got all the rules on food that you can have and how many you can have for this and how many can be that per person. The minute the government really went in and decided it was going to fix childcare, that's why right now we've got childcare subsidies in every town and all over the place, and they're screaming for people. We need more daycare. We need more daycare. We need more this. We need more that. Because the people that were good, that had successful, and I said, you know what? I don't need this. And now a lot of the people that are in it maybe shouldn't be, because they're in it for the money, for all the subsidies and stuff that are coming to the child care. And I'm not saying everybody's that way, because they're not. But it's amazing how the minute you start throwing subsidies at programs and businesses and stuff, how they seem to go to crap. The minute the government sticks its long nose in it, things just don't seem to work as well as they do in the private sector. And it was a problem, that didn't exist, but by God, the government had the solution, and here we sit now.
Luke's example of that, when he was on, was always the post office. How is it that the post office loses money year after year, but yet you've got people like UPS, you got FedEx, we got Speedy, we got all these different delivery services, but yet the post office hasn't made money in probably my lifetime, if not longer.
There's whatever the phrase is, it usually comes down to really screw things up, you need the government. And the problem is that their job is to make sure that the only thing that does exist anymore are large corporations. They don't want small farmers, they want large corporate farms. They don't want small ranchers, they don't want small processing plants, they want the big federal processing plants. It's becoming so that you're going to have very few selections, and most of those aren't going to be good. It's the best thing I can compare it to is going to the DMV.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Now imagine that for everything.
Coming back to the property tax thing, I've had this discussion a lot too, because Rick called me and asked me to sign on to it. And originally I wasn't going to do it, like back before I knew he was doing this petition. Like it's come up since like 2012. And I know it's circulated a couple times, but like this last year, when all these guys were campaigning, everyone was going to be talking about how they were going to get rid of property tax. They were going to reduce our taxes. They were going to do this. They were going to do that. And after I go through all the bills and I don't find anything that eliminates property tax, as soon as Rick called me, he's like, I want you to sign on to this. And I'm like, absolutely, send me the information. Because you hear this. I mean, it's going up everywhere. And everybody's like, well, how are we going to pay for things? Well, first off, folks, we're supposed to be a Republican state. We're super red according to the national media.
Excuse me.
But we just had the most expensive legislative session in North Dakota history. How about we stop spending money like it's going out of business? And how about we stop giving big businesses huge tax breaks? How about we stop giving away public lands to private foundations?
Yep.
And this is another way that we would keep people from coming in here and just buying everything up, is if we stop some of this stuff. Because you can't tell me that that doesn't entice them as well.
Well, and take a look at Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
The budget that hit there. There's a bunch of rural fire departments that just got a letter from Health and Human Services telling them they can't have EMRs anymore. Everybody has to be an EMT. Now, to be an EMR, you need 40 hours, and you're good enough to handle stuff until an ambulance or something gets there, but you can at least get stuff done. And it said everybody's going to have to be an EMT, which is 160 hours of class time or more. And that's without the experience and stuff. And there was this gentleman that was in this small little rural fire department that I was listening to talk, and he said, I've got 15 people in my fire department. I'm going to lose half. Half. It's a volunteer fire department, people. They're giving their time. And Health and Human Services is going to go in there and fix things so they're safer. How much safer are you going to be if you're in an accident and everybody says the EMT's 40 minutes out, but he'll be here soon?
Yeah. Sarah brought up a point here. I know I keep popping her comments up, but she hasn't missed on much here. But the legislators just voted to increase their pay.
Yes.
It wasn't just the legislators that got the pay raise, folks. The Secretary of State was like I want to say it's at least a $16,000 a year raise.
Oh, wait a minute. The same Secretary of State that locked us out of his office when we were trying to meet with him?
No, that was Al. This is Michael.
No, that's Michael? The same one. Then in February when we were at his office, with Dr. Frank, and they wouldn't let us in there.
$16,000 a year pay raise, if not more.
Well, you're a customer, Shiloh.
Wow.
Customers don't have to get it. Customers, there's hours of entry for customers, Shiloh. Come on.
But it wasn't.
Pardon me, that guy's an abomination too, because he wouldn't even answer us when we were trying to set up debates when the election was going on. So, I mean, he didn't answer us via phone or text message or any of that, email. Why would he let us in his office when he got elected?
Well, and it wasn't
Mark, what's going on with that, though?
Almost every head saw pay raises like that.
Yeah.
Cost of living pay raises. Well, last time I checked, Shiloh, have you gotten a cost of living pay raise this year?
No.
You know, even if people got a cost of living pay raise, how much of it was actually eaten up? Right now, the amount of credit card debt and people living paycheck to paycheck is the highest it's ever been. Yeah. It's just crazy. People are, they're struggling. And, I understand. It's not just government that has a spending problem. I'll be honest. People have a spending problem. How many people do you know, they don't even have a phone for 2 years and they buy another one? Or they see this bright, shiny object and they need one. They have a car for about 2 or 3 years and we need a new one. Why? Because this one just seems old. But we've been conditioned to doing that. We have shipped all our marketing to Mexico or China or wherever, and that left us with the base of our economy being consumerism. And the base of an economy being people buying things is never a good way to build a country.
They don't even make a car anymore that lasts 3 years.
Washers and dryers. We were talking to one of the salespeople, and he said the average lifespan of the new washers dryers is 7 years. It's built into them to be 7 years because of the computers and everything else. He goes, well, because there's new stuff coming out. So in about 7 years, you're going to need another one. I currently have a washer dryer set that my mom and dad had it's avocado green to give you an idea of how old this thing is. Okay, it's that old, and this thing still runs. But you see, you can't run a buyer economy when things don't break or wear out that fast, and that's what
Well,
we've become.
you can blame the light bulb industry for that.
Okay, how come?
The term engineered obsolescence. When light bulbs were first released, a lot of the big companies almost went out of business because they were making the light bulbs too good and people weren't buying them.
Because they didn't have to.
And that's transferred into automotive, it's transferred into your technology, it's transferred into your TVs. And now we're surrounded by a culture that you always have to have the newest and fanciest. And it sucks. It does. Because we all fall into the trap. It's not just a certain group of people. Every one of us, there's something that we want.
Absolutely, I agree. And I understand that. But I have a feeling that in the very near future, we're going to have to learn something completely different. Because I don't think we're going to be able to sustain the lifestyles that we currently have and the buying patterns that we currently have, because sooner or later, government may be able to freely continue to spend like drunken sailors on their first shore relatives. I can say that. But the thing is that people aren't going to be able to.
Yep.
The COVID money and everything else is going to stop. And
Well,
you're going to be left going, what the hell happened?
well, what's stupid is I stopped and filled my truck yesterday.
Oh,
It was
oh,
$100-some. And I looked at it, was $4.79 a gallon because I run premium, because I get almost twice the mileage out of my vehicle running premium when I'm highway driving, which I'm not going to complain. But it just pissed me off because I'm sitting there looking at it, knowing right now that the companies pumping oil out of the western part of the state just got max extraction tax at 5%. And the 7,500 plus restimulation wells that are hanging out on the western side of the state, if they go active again, they're going to get the tax reduced down to 2%. And what people don't realize about that tax in particular, that's the only money North Dakota makes off the oil wells. That extraction tax that created the legacy fund is the only way we make money off the oil wells, unless we own the rights to the minerals.
yep.
But if you tax people out of their property, guess what? You can get the mineral rights because it goes back to who, Kit?
Yep. Yep. And see, remember old Mr. Schwab, no, excuse me, Mr. Soros. It might have been Schwab too. Either way, they're both evil, but you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Can you find a better edict from an elitist than that? They tell you you will own nothing and you will be happy, So, I mean, that's their attitude towards us. We are, and I will also coin a phrase for Bill Gates, useless eaters.
Well, we better be careful what we say on social media, because otherwise we may find ourselves in more trouble too, won't we?
I'm always in trouble. There's always a big red slash through my Facebook account. If you can see my page, you must certainly be blessed, because it's impossible. They don't want. Okay, I can't say it, but there was a really, really horrible ad that was on my Facebook page. Marvin, I think you know which one I'm talking about. It was a horrible ad, just horrible. But that one didn't violate community standards, but my talking about people dying from the jab does. Excuse me? And I'm blocked for violating community standards. But this horrible ad can be on. I give up. I give up. I'm done. I'm totally done, guys. I stopped trying to figure it out.
And I don't know if you saw the article that went up on our website yesterday. Let's transition into this because it needs to be talked about too. We had an article post to our website yesterday questioning whether North Dakota really is about protecting the Second Amendment, or if we're a red flag state.
Yes.
And so we had somebody reach out to us and gave us the entire scenario about kind of what was going on. And this was after the fact. I heard about the initial stuff, word of mouth, and I'm like, oh, that can't be true. So I went and looked. And I went and dug. And they have had, we're hoping to have them on, folks, so we will get into that later, but because of the legal process and stuff, that's going to have to wait a minute. They have had their gun rights taken away for a year for failure to title a vehicle.
It's a misdemeanor.
Let that sink in.
For failure to title your vehicle. Now,
see, I'm more scared of that, Marv, than I am the social media BS, because this is government coming after you and using the power of the government to take you down.
yep. And
I mean, you can silence me on social media all you want, but if you start taking away my rights, quote unquote, legally, and that's exactly what's happening here, I feel.
well, and the thing that really, like, we dug. I mean, I know you know people that have done the same search I have, and there was no priors, there was no convictions, there was, like, I found speeding tickets, folks, from 2 years ago, speeding tickets. And so this county state's attorney tries going after them the only way they can. And here's the kicker. Here's the kicker to it being a Class B misdemeanor. The way they did it, the way they're taking this person's gun rights, is because under a Class B misdemeanor, you can put somebody on a year unsupervised probation or supervised probation. And when you're on probation, guess what? You can't own or possess a firearm for not titling your vehicle.
I'll even go one step further. Not only did they do that, but the judge was going to reduce the sentence. And when this person said, when the judge asked him if he had anything to say, and he replied that, I think it's a little obsessive why I'm going to lose my gun rights over this. And the judge said, well, basically agreed with him and said, we're not going to do that. And that's when the state's attorney stepped in and said, no, wait, it's a mandate. It's mandated that he loses gun rights for the year being he's on probation. So the judge's hands were tied, and that's what they actually, not only is he on unsupervised probation. By the way, what is that? Why even put somebody on probation then if you're not even going to supervise them? I mean, that's stupid in itself.
It's stupid in itself, but for not having tabs, all right, I gapped out my tabs one time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm driving, I get stopped, pulled over, and the guy goes, your vehicle's out of registration. And I went, no. So I'm digging through all my stuff, and he goes, I handed it to him, and he goes, see the date? And I went, ugh. He goes, go get it registered. And I said, thank you very much, sir. Yes, I will, sir. Of course, sir. Thank you. I mean, that's normally what they do. They go, get down the road and go get it registered. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Very much, sir. I will do that immediately, sir. I mean, this is nothing more than targeting someone, period. End of sentence. And it's him today. It's who else tomorrow. Because if you say something or if you do something to piss off enough people, because you're not toting the line, you're not being a good little person and following their rules, what's coming down the chute after you? It's scary, Marv. It's scary.
Absolutely. Looks like we lost Shiloh for a second here. But no, it's 100% terrifying, because if you think about it, the different Class B misdemeanors that are out there,
Tons.
you know what is really kind of terrifying is misdemeanors were what they were using to threaten people with during lockdowns for breaking quarantine.
Not wearing the mask, opening up your store.
Yep.
You know, how dare you? How dare you open up your store? How
Yeah.
dare you? How dare you have a livelihood? I mean, I'm laughing, but because it's so absurd. Never in my 68 years did I believe I would be living under this form of tyranny, much less, not just in the United States, but much less in North Dakota. And here we are. Here we are.
Here's the one thing I'm going to say about this situation is I hope this state's attorney is real consistent on how she's been prosecuting, because it'd be real interesting to take a look at the court records and see if anybody else that failed to title a vehicle got their gun rights taken away.
Here's the problem. Where are you going to find a lawyer in North Dakota to support your case? All of them are scared because the minute they try to sue somebody or you try to sue somebody, they all tell you, well, I can't do that. I'll lose my license.
Yep. They'll have a conflict of interest.
You tell me how the hell you're going to defend yourself in North Dakota if there's not a single lawyer in North Dakota that'll take your case. I don't know how. And they know that.
I'll tell you, we get guys like Paul, constitutional study guy.
Paul Engel.
These constitutional people that know the law better than most of these attorneys do and go in there. I've seen Paul speak at a few of these different deals. He's been in the state. We need more people like that actually know how to work this, because we aren't going to get it. You're exactly right, Kit. We aren't going to get it done with an attorney, because, I mean, Marvin, we've already known that with what's going on in Benedict. They can't find an attorney because it's conflict of interest.
No, it's conflict of they'll take my license. They'll take my law license. Because I've spoken with attorneys who said, you can't quote me, but if I try to help you, they will take my law license. I'll be disbarred.
Yep. Oh, by the way, the bar isn't even part of the United States government either. It's for over there in Britain. So,
you know, it's nice to have people like that gentleman who'll come and help us, but it's sad that we need to.
Yep. But here again, this is what we're talking about as a society, whether it's buying stuff on credit or to the point where we don't even know our own rights and what's gone on all this time.
I missed the boat on the property taxes because I didn't realize I had that short a window.
Yeah.
You know, we all need to better inform ourselves, and I guess we need to start realizing I really didn't think we were gonna win that vote, that 12 million. I thought for sure we were gonna go down in flames, that it was an effort in futility. But and I still have got to ride them like a rented mule on the 10th or the 9th or whatever of October to make sure that somebody doesn't try some skullduggery. But it's just it matters, people. We need to get out there, and you need to do something. Go sit and watch people count votes. Trust me, I really wanted to be somewhere else Tuesday night, but I'm damn glad we were there, because we barely made it. They almost had that 60%. Like I said, 24 votes, folks. And I would be willing to bet if we hadn't been sitting there, they might have found 24 votes. And I'm not saying that they would have been bad. I'm just saying human nature. Here's the thing. I worked for the Minnesota State Lottery for 10 years. Part of my job, I used to catch embezzlers. Good people do bad things for what at the time they believe are good reasons. Okay. Most of the folks I caught were not professional criminals. They didn't have huge records. They were nice people that were in a bad situation or in a situation where they thought this will work. I'm not hurting anybody. And that's the thing. And I'm just trying to say, we're dealing with human beings here. I understand North Dakota nice and trusting people, but I also trust and verify. And I never caught an embezzler that was a real lifetime criminal. Not one did I catch like that. They were all, in fact, the worst one I ever had, the guy was getting ripped off by his stepmother and his best friend of 20 years. The guy sat and cried in front of me. Okay. What I'm trying to tell you is, you may know somebody really, really well, and they're still going to do bad things. So when you say my neighbor's the election judge or whatever, I shouldn't have to be there to watch them count. Watch them count, please.
Period.
Just watch them count. Okay, folks, and I mean that sincerely.
Yep.
Get out there, do something. Boys, been a great night. This old lady's got to go to bed.
No, thank you.
Come on,
I'm up past my bedtime.
We're
Come
just
on,
getting
you want to stay on for more, don't you?
No, I'm up past my bedtime. But I just want to make sure people understand. I'm not accusing anyone of skullduggery, but in 10 years, I watched some very nice people do some very bad things and really, really hurt the people around them that love them because they trusted them. And people are human. They're frail. So my life as I've gone forward and will continue to be trust but verify. Sorry, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I don't think. If you want to think that, that's okay, but trust but verify.
Unfortunately, it's come to that point.
Yeah.
And
if it has to do with voting or politics, it's even worse.
Yep.
Because we're at the point now where the end justifies the means.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to take somebody's guns away for a Class B misdemeanor, so you can prove to them that you have power and you're in charge, that's not a good thing.
No.
So.
No.
But I'm sorry, guys.
We appreciate your time, Kit.
Old lady going to bed now.
All right. You have a good night, Kit. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
no worries at all. Always glad to be on the show with you guys. You guys take care.
You too.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Kit Brennan she's the host of Common Sense Uncensored. And that's on Mondays at 1:00, right?
Yeah.
She's got not a YouTube. Go ahead.
Grand Forks Best Source.
Yeah.
With.
Yep. On Mondays. So, just a couple different things, I guess. You guys seen me put the mypillow.com on the bottom of the screen there. If you guys go and go to mypillow.com and find some stuff that you like, whether it be the Giza sheets or a mattress or the MyPillow 2.0, he's even got My Coffee on there. And I tell you what, I know I've said this before, that is some good stuff. We had it down there at the election summit. That was some good stuff. But if you guys go to mypillow.com and use our promo code of HTD, you'll get up to 66% off on most of the items there. And Mike, he even gives us a percentage of that to help with the show. So we're very much appreciative of the support. So go ahead and go to mypillow.com and use our promo code for HTD for all your stuff on that website. So.
Oh, the
other thing I want to mention is, so we had Gavin on about a month ago, huh?
Yeah.
With QX TV.
A month and a half already.
Yeah. And we are live streaming on QX now. QX TV. So if you guys are interested in that, you can go to QX TV, www.qxtv. And if you find something you like there as well, we got a coupon code there as well. That'll give you $35 off.
25, I think.
$25 off on the box. But they've got different things too on that website as well. But I go ahead and check them out at qx.tv and go ahead and use our coupon code for that as well of HTD. So we are up and live. I see it on the TV behind me, and they got her up and going now. So that's a good thing. I'm excited about that. There's a lot of different things that you can use the box for, and you can also have it on your phone to where you can create content, you content creators. There's a space there that you can create content, and yeah, so it's kind of like YouTube or Rumble, but new and improved. So But
Well, we got a bunch going on with our show here too the next couple weeks.
yes, we do.
I need to nail down the details on the Friday show in about 3 weeks, but we may be live from location someplace. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Tuesday, we're going to have Rick Becker on talk about the property tax initiative. I personally kind of want to pick his brain over who's going to be running for governor, since we have 8, 9, 10, 11 presidential candidates, and nobody's said a peep about who's running in North Dakota.
Yeah.
We have Cole Christensen, who will be on next Friday night.
Yep. A week from tonight.
A week from tonight, we'll have Cole on, and then we have Naomi on tomorrow afternoon. That'll be a special show. We keep lining up people like this. It's going to become a full-time thing, dude.
Yeah.
But we got Naomi Chafee coming on tomorrow for Turning Point USA. Like I said at the beginning of the show, she had something come up that was unexpected, so we got that rescheduled. And then we may have a show Monday night. We haven't found out yet. For those of you that have saw the stuff that Kat Perkins had posted about working with the Theodore Roosevelt Foundation, we kind of reached out to her just to have her on and see what she has to say. So she had agreed to do a show. We just don't know when. So that'll be a future event as well.
That's some exciting stuff going on there, man. Yeah, it's super excited about what's going on with the show, and again, all we're trying to do is get information out there for you guys, and and you guys do with it what you want, but we're trying to get as much information out there as we can. And again, if there's something that you guys want us to talk about, by all means, give us an email and let us know. We're all about what you guys want as an audience. Right there's our email address, htdpodcastnd.com. That's our website, which has our contact page. So, yes, we're always up for suggestions. So,
also, we need to get it set up, but I want to have the North Dakota Family Alliance come on and kind of talk about the scorecard that they put up here. So we'll have that. And what was the other one? There's another organization. I'm working on getting somebody in to do a show with us for the Homeschooler Association, because it'd be great to have that point of view as well.
yes, sir.
My last thing for the night, Shiloh. We have 9 months until the primary. We have about half of the House, I think, House and Senate in North Dakota, that's going to be coming up for election.
Mm-hmm.
We have local officials that are coming up for election. We have a governor and a few other spots coming up for election, including state treasurer and Department of Public Education. Instruction, sorry. If you are running for office for your district, if you are thinking about running for office, now is the time to be outdoor knocking. Don't drag your feet. Get your plan together, get your team together, and if you want to get on the show and introduce yourself to your audience, by all means, let us know so we can get you on, because we can't say we're going to not talk about, or we're going to talk about politics and then not. So it's time to get a plan together, because endorsing convention 6 months away, if there is one, and then 9 months for the primary.
If there is one. Yeah.
They started talking about there not being an endorsing convention as soon as the last one got done.
Yeah, well, we all know why that was.
And I'm not pointing fingers at the GOP. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody else. I'm just literally, that was the talk, was this the last North Dakota convention for the GOP for endorsements? And there's plenty of articles that you can go and read about that, folks. So don't think I'm just going, oh, boo-hoo. Shame on you, because I'm not. Oh, boy, dude. I'm still fired up about this Class B thing.
Oh, I hear you. It's a personal friend of mine, and I totally get it. You know, on the same note that we're talking about elections and stuff, I kind of want to mention something, and we talked about this just before the show, but you know, yes, I believe that we all need to band together. Okay, we need to put our pride aside. Whatever. It's not about one person or who's doing what and who's writing what and what, however you want to put it. We're all in this fight together. But I would just caution some of these people who they're getting involved with and who's backing them, because not everybody is for the grassroots movement, even though that they call themselves grassroots. If somebody is going to fund you that you're trying to get rid of, are you really doing anything really good? Now, again, this is why conservatives don't necessarily get things done, is because they divide and conquer, right? And I'm not trying to cause division amongst groups. However, I would say this. If somebody is trying to fund you that you're trying to get rid of, are you really doing any good? Food for thought. So,
Yeah,
other
absolutely.
than that, these new candidates, especially in District 2, where are you? If we're going to run against the three amigos, I agree with Marvin. We need to get you out there, because there is need for change up here in District 2 for sure. So if you are thinking about running, I would encourage you to start door knocking and get your names out there. So they already know that someone's coming. So the gamesmanship of everything's a secret right up until it, we absolutely need to do this, it isn't the way to do it.
No.
And I might be on the minority on that thinking side, but we need to have people out there now, because I guarantee you they've already been out. They were in a parade right here in Little Ray, North Dakota back in August. So
Yeah.
with that, folks, Marvin, I'll be seeing you tomorrow anyway, right? Because
Yep.
I got to
Yep.
bring
We'll have Naomi in, and
yep. And so if everything works out right, I'll be down there with Marvin and Bismarck, and we'll do the show live together. It's not very often we get to be in the same spot in the same time, but I'm looking forward to that. And so we will see you tomorrow evening, folks. Here's the deal, signing off.
y'all have a great night.